She was just another photographer, wandering through the endless maze of a flea market on a cool autumn day. Her name was Emily Winters. With a passion for capturing moments that seemed otherwise ordinary, Emily often searched for vintage cameras, believing they held memories of their own. But this day would be different. This day, she would find a camera that changed her life forever. It was tucked away in a dusty corner of a stall, half buried under old photographs and torn leather cases. The camera seemed different. It was heavy, with a worn leather exterior and a faint metallic smell, as if it hadn't been touched in years. As her fingers brushed its cold surface, a shiver ran down her spine. Emily didn't think much of it at first. She tested it out by snapping a quick photo of the market's entrance, watching as the film slid out. It was an instant camera, one of those rare models that developed the photo within minutes. But when the picture cleared, she noticed something odd. The image wasn't of the market entrance. It was a familiar face of a friend she hadn't spoken to in years, standing at a desolate train station, looking forlorn. Emily shook it off as a strange coincidence, convinced her mind was playing tricks. But as the days went on, she couldn't ignore the truth. Every photo she took revealed something impossible, something no ordinary camera could capture. A street she'd never visited, a child's lonely face at a carnival, her own parents standing by a hospital bed. Each image felt hauntingly real, as if these were glimpses of the future, images of things that hadn't yet come to pass. One evening, Emily took a photo of her friend Sarah, a close confidant who had always stood by her side. When the picture developed, Emily froze. There was Sarah, but she was lying in a hospital bed, eyes closed, with tubes and machines surrounding her. The image was terrifyingly vivid. Her pulse quickened, and fear settled in her bones. Was this a warning? Emily was torn. She wanted to warn Sarah, but how could she explain? Who would believe that an old camera was showing her glimpses of the future? And if she told Sarah, could she really change what was meant to happen? Or was fate unalterable, no matter how much she tried? Days passed, and Emily kept the photo to herself. She watched Sarah closely, looking for any signs of illness. But she was healthy and full of life. Emily convinced herself it was a mistake. Perhaps the camera was just an eerie relic playing on her fears. But then, weeks later, she received a call. Sarah had collapsed unexpectedly and was now in intensive care. Emily's blood ran cold as she sat by Sarah's hospital bed, watching her friend's pale face, just as she had seen in the photograph. She realized with a sinking feeling that the camera had shown her something inevitable. It wasn't a warning. It was a glimpse into the inescapable. Shaken and horrified, Emily knew she had to get rid of the camera. She couldn't bear the thought of taking another photograph, of witnessing another future that she had no power to change. She drove to a remote location and tried to destroy it. She smashed it with rocks, threw it into a river, even buried it deep within a forest. But every time she returned to her apartment, there it was, sitting on her table, pristine and waiting, as though it had never left. The camera had become a curse she couldn't escape. But curiosity is a dangerous thing. Despite her fear, Emily couldn't resist the urge. One evening, as the sun set and cast shadows across her room, she took the camera in her hand once more. This time, she pointed it at herself, wondering what fate it would reveal to her. When the photograph developed, she held it with trembling hands. In the image, she was standing on a bridge, staring down at the water below, an expression of haunting sadness on her face. Her heart raced as she tried to make sense of it. Would she be in an accident? Or was this her end? Over the next few days, Emily found herself drawn to the bridge from the photograph. She would stand there, gazing down at the river below, just as her future self had done. The weight of her fate settled heavily on her shoulders. She tried to fight it, to resist, to pull away, but the image had taken root in her mind. Finally, one cold evening, she found herself back on that bridge, mirroring the exact scene from the photograph. It was as if the camera had brought her there, pulling her forward piece by piece until she was nothing but a shadow of the girl who once held a passion for capturing moments. The camera had shown her her end, and she had walked willingly toward it. Days later, someone found her camera laying on that bridge, untouched and waiting for its next owner. The last photograph in the camera was of Emily herself, standing there as if she had known all along that this was her final moment. It was her last photograph, the one that had drawn her toward her fate. And so the camera sat, patient and undisturbed, waiting for the next curious soul who would pick it up and witness their own destiny, one photograph at a time. Some moments are best left unobserved. Some futures are better left unseen.